I'm sitting here having my morning coffee, sitting on my nice little pad on a rock. I had a Snickers bar, and I'm going to have a sweet and salty, whatever Nature Valley thing you do. But let's talk about these just a little bit. I won't get into their use quite yet, but there's a couple things that we can talk about just sitting here. My opinions, and I did quite a bit of research and listened to a lot of other people. Buy the ones that have 3 sections, because they condense down far enough to go into your luggage. That's helpful. They're also a little more adjustable. I keep this fairly short because I feel that this is a little weaker than this. I still want some flexibility in here, and so I don't shorten it up all the way. And I want some of this tube up in here for strength too. I've put a lot of pressure on these and never broke one, but they can break. Don't get the twisty kind, get the lock kind. See, I got mine super tight. I actually don't want to unlock it because I never want them to slip. Oh, this one will unlock. So see how that unlocks, and then you can snap it in. Don't do the twisty kind. And these are adjustable with this little screw. We'll make this looser or tighter, and so that's the kind you want to get there. Down here, this carbide tip, go into focus because I think so. Anyway, right here, oh there we go. There's a carbide tip that really bites into the rocks, and I talked about that earlier. You can really trust that sucker to a point, and these have lasted a long time. I've never had to replace them. You can see how grubby I am being on trail. Up on this end, cork is I prefer. It doesn't absorb the moisture as much and stuff. If you get good poles, there is a right and a left, and they're marked. Now my left one, the marking has come off, so you want to be able to recognize it easily. Mine I can, because the right one, that strap is very straight, and the left one, that strap is very crooked. So because you want to get them on the right hand, and you're taking them on an awful lot. Now see if I can show you a little something here about, kind of hard to do with one hand. This is my left pole, and you put your hand in from the bottom. So you go up from the bottom, and then this is the way you want it, so that the strapping right there in your palm is nice and flat, and then the strapping is coming across your hand nice and flat. So when you're putting all that pressure on there, you know, I never grip my poles. Very, very rare. You hold them very loosely, because all your pressure is there across the palm of your hand and across the back of your wrist. And that's why there's a right and left, because the strapping is angled differently. And these are adjustable with the strap. It's a little tricky, but once you get them in the right place, then you never change them, and you kind of want them right there, and then wherever it's the most comfortable. So that's a little bit about hiking poles. These are Black Diamond. Again, I don't endorse anybody, but these have worked really well for me, and they've got a really good reputation. I'll say one more thing. When you're sweating, salt gets on to your handles, and so these are actually my tent poles, so mine are always holding up my tent. Bring these in the tent with you, or put them somewhere where critters can't get to them, because those little bears, mice, they love that salt, and they will just chew your handle all up in one night. So bring them in. I actually bring everything into my tent with me, even my pack, because my pack's got salt on it as well, and those little mice like that stuff. So I bring everything into the tent, and that's a little bit on hiking poles. And I'll talk more about their use and how much they save you and your body on the trail. And I'm not talking just balance. I'm talking they are workhorses and should be. See how the leaves build up on my poles very steadily. And it only took me 14 days to figure this out because I've been removing it by hand. I guess I'm a little dim. Just go with his foot. No more bloody fingers, like I said. 14 days to figure that out. I don't know, NoPack. Okay, this is going to be a little hard to show some of the pole work, but this is what I call just easy poling. And so now you have to imagine I'm doing this with both sides, but I'm just kind of flinging it out there and walking. I'm not, you don't want to look where you're putting your poles because that just slows you down. Just fling it out there. My grip is really loose, and really all I'm doing is not really putting any pressure, maybe a little pressure when I push behind me, but not much. And I would be doing this with both poles and do it quite a bit, just loose. But when you slip on that rock that you didn't see or something, you kind of almost always have a pole on the ground ready to rock and roll. And that has saved me one time for sure, and 3 or 4 other times where I might have been able to save myself. But this is just light pole work. So now we're coming up to a spot. So these are knee breakers. I would use both poles, and if you're young and agile, you can jump down this. It's about a foot, a little more. But what I'll do is plant both poles, and as I come down very light, especially with both poles. If you jump down, you're just hammering your knees. So it's a little hard to demonstrate the pole work, but that's one aspect of poles. They actually make you go faster because you can propel yourself forward. They save your knees when you're going downhill, and they save your legs when you're going uphill. When I'm going down like this, now I'm putting more pressure right there. So when my leg's coming down, I'm not getting much pressure on that knee at all. All the pressure's on my pole, and all the pressure is on my palm. I'm still not gripping that pole. So when I'm coming down right here, pressure's on the pole, still on the pole. I'd be doing that with both poles. And so when you're going downhill, those poles are saving your knees, and you're really jabbing them in the ground, and you're really pushing down on them hard. And it's just saving all that pressure. If you're under 30 and athletic and everything else, this probably isn't for you, but for everybody else, should you buy poles? Yes. Should you be using them? Yes. And they just save your legs. Now here we're coming. I guess I'm going to cover more than I thought. I was just going to do loose work. So now here's a big step. This is a big step up. So now I would use both poles. Now in this case, I got a little shelf so I can just step right up there. But I'm still planting that pole up there. And when I go get up, I am putting all my pressure on that pole. And I barely put any pressure on my knee and leg. So they're basically saving your legs from those big step up. and you're using your arms a little bit, but that's not what you're hammering all day long. You can afford to use your arms a little bit. I find myself late in the day, even on flats, not moving my poles forward as much, putting them down more like this, but then pushing hard and propelling myself forward and saving energy because my legs are getting tired and my arms still have energy. So now here, see, I'm still putting pressure on that front pole, and I'd be doing it with both of them and saving on those knees. And when you're putting on big miles day after day after day, it all adds up. Every pound of pressure I push down on this pole is a pound that I'm not putting on my legs. And so it's not just about stability. They should be workhorses. They save my butt many times, and they're really handy. And because of the stability, you can go a lot faster. If I was using both poles here, you can just scamper down this stuff. It's saving your knees, and you know that if you slip on one of these rocks, it's kind of jerky, I know, that you've got some poles out to the side of you a little bit that save you. So I'll probably think of something else to talk about poles, but I covered a good bit. Should you use them? Yes. They'll save you a lot of energy, and they really should be workhorses. They shouldn't just be there to make sure you don't tip over. You really want to be, even when I'm walking along, I'm pushing forward with those poles and saving some energy for my legs.